Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
And then this one is
the mic.
next.
I gotta get mic'd up, right?
Yeah, you're good. We'll figure it out. This is it.
Right here. Sweet.
All right, thank you.
Mic check, mic check. That's down. How we doing, guys? Hopefully you guys are all back up and awake here after grabbing some lunch. So a couple facts about me. So I started wholesaling in about 2018, 2019. Year to date, I've closed over 500 transactions on the wholesaling, flipping side, and everything like that. My main specialty now, which is what I'll get into, is mobile homes. So I'm super excited about the topic, mainly because you guys are obviously out there wholesaling, whether you're getting on market, off market deals. Everything I'm teaching you is something that you can implement as soon as you leave here today. It doesn't have to change. It's not some type of big land development, a multifamily deal. This is something that every single one of you should have in your tool belt when you're getting your deals. So let me move this here. I'm going to skip this here. We're not going to go over everyone. So main thing is why to target this asset class. I'm going to go over some of the main points, and then at the end, do some Q&A from you guys. Let me try to go back here. Is this loading? Okay, so this is what most of you guys probably think a trailer is someone getting off on their sister or something like that, which is obviously not the case whatsoever. But this is the image that many of you probably have of what a mobile home deal is or what it kind of looks like. So the reality is I'm going to show you what it actually looks like, and what I'm doing now is what it's going to be. So this is an example of a double wide in Mesa. So this was one that we purchased, and ARV here is about $300,000 on a unit like this. But this is your regular 1,500 square foot house, and it's about a 3-bed, 2-bath. You guys will see some interior pictures. Can you guys hear me without it? Yeah. Okay, because this thing is annoying. All right, so this is what it looks like prior. This is the backyard. So most of our rehabs are all essentially the same. So everything's going to be the same flooring, the same vanities, the same countertops, cabinets. Just about every single thing is systematically the same when we purchase them. And then we make the backyard look like this with some gravel, a little bit of turf. And that's how it looks once it's fixed up there. So this is the interior of one. So this is the same picture as before. This is the same mobile home in Mesa. And then I'm going to go into essentially my main bullet points on why everyone should be targeting these, why I think they're one of the best asset classes to flip, mainly to flip and wholesale. But every single mobile home that I get into is always going to be affordable. So meaning that we're hitting, at least in Phoenix, median price point is about $400K and under. So that's kind of where you want to be operating on a wholesale side. You can make money on your Scottsdale luxury deals. You can make money on a couple other properties, but the main bread and butter of wholesale is going to be at median price points and below. So when I'm operating with a mobile home, I'm already in the median price point and below. So I'm already operating in that threshold in which I want to be. The average sales price on a double wide on the resale side, so for the retail value, is about $250,000 to $300,000. That's going to be on your normal 6,000 to 10,000 square foot lot. Mobile homes on acres have a little bit of a different value, but that's going to be the main thing for your general mobile homes. Also, when the interest rates hiked and went all crazy and everyone was losing money, I never lost a single dollar throughout 2021 all the way up to today. The most I've ever lost on a flip was about a little over $20,000, and that was actually a couple months ago from a deal that was bought outside of our underwriting criteria, which is, should never have been done. And then when you go to flip these, when you go to wholesale these, you're going to have your largest buying pool because once again, you're at the most affordable. So you have a massive amount of buyers out there, a massive amount of Hispanic community we have out here that they all purchase these mobile homes. So on the investing side for dispoing it, you guys are always going to have so many more people that can purchase these properties. As opposed to when you flip a Scottsdale house, there's only a couple people that are going to actually purchase that house. So I'd rather, if I'm getting a deal and throwing it up against the wall, I'd rather have a lot more options of someone that could purchase it from me rather than one or two buyers that I'm dependent on. And then homes are obviously becoming unaffordable for people. So that's why I love staying and targeting these, because I know whether I flip it, whether I wholesale it, I'm still operating in that price point threshold in which I want to be. There's a laser on here too, right? Yeah. Bullet point 2, less competition. So iBuyers are not purchasing these properties. So your Zillows, your Open Door, OfferPad, nobody is purchasing these properties. So our competition is obviously going a lot lower. Other investors in the marketplace are not really purchasing these either because they just don't really know. They don't really know what's going on or how to properly underwrite these deals. And most lenders don't want to lend on these projects either. So financing is a little bit more finicky, but with the right underwriting parameters, then you guys will know, hey, I could purchase a deal that fits my buy box and I wouldn't inherit that risk, as opposed to if someone else was purchasing a property where, they're just kind of winging it, which is what I'll get into as well. And the overall consensus is that mobile homes are shit. Like we saw in slide number 3 of, tweakers and incest, that's what people think of, some trailers. So obviously it's not the case when we can actually get a good deal and make, $50,000, $60,000 on these mobile homes. And by a show of hands, has anyone done a mobile home, owned land, no HOA, just so I can kind of get a better gauge, besides John? Anyone up here? Okay. And I'm sure you guys have made some decent profits on it. So.
I think I wholesale one like 4 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was owned land? Yep.
Fixed.
Okay. Nice.
And Apache.
Yep. So Apache Junction and Mesa is pretty much your highest population of mobile homes here, at least in Maricopa County. So I have an office in East Mesa, which is pretty much right in the honey hole of where all these things are as well. So geographically, Mesa and Apache Junction has the most mobile homes. And Mesa itself is the 3rd largest city in Arizona, and that's behind Tucson and Phoenix. So Mesa is just fucking huge, and a lot of you guys probably don't even know that actually, but that's probably how you got so many rentals in Mesa, I'm assuming, because it's absolutely massive. So my point number 3 is really they're hard to value. Anything that's hard to value, there's going to be an opportunity to obviously capture a lot of equity, get a good deal. A lot of times the DMV, local counties, they're not recording these affixtures, they're not recording these titles properly. So a lot of things are kind of lost in translation, or maybe the year build is up for some type of discrepancy. So it makes it harder to actually value these properties. And when it's harder to value, people are going to step away and maybe not be as inclined to purchase these. And now the sellers, when we're going to purchase these, once again, they're harder to value. So the sellers are thinking that, hey, this property is really not worth much. I'll essentially take whatever you think it's worth at its fair market value. So there is a ton of opportunity to get a good deal. And then just like the sellers, if you're working with wholesalers or agents, they're also going to be having a hard time valuing it as well. So let me get to my next slide here. And there's more distress. So when we're operating in some of the areas that we are, I don't know where your deal was in Apache Junction, but I'm assuming the area wasn't, you know, you probably wouldn't be walking there at night. But the area is probably definitely not the best. So a lot of these areas have, you know, lower income. There's more distress going on. Some neighborhoods, there's drugs, and there's just more problems. So when we're getting into wholesaling, the main thing that we're targeting is problems, because we have to solve those problems, and at the end of the day, get a nice paycheck for doing so. And a lot of these areas, when they're renting it out to tenants, the tenants are going to trash the place. They're not going to take care of it. And that's going to leave in 3 to 5 years. That homeowner isn't going to want to go in, fix up the property, and do all that, and, you know, obviously make it look nice. They'd rather sell it as is to a wholesaler. Any questions so far on any of that for mobile homes? Okay. I hope I'm not putting anyone to sleep. Sounds good. Tony, I see you sleeping there. I'm just kidding. My other point is that it's low risk. So once again, when we're operating in purchase prices that are lower, getting into the deal is going to be a lot easier. There's going to be less risk. So like I said before, you can only fuck up so much. When you buy a property that is at a certain price, 100, 200,000, there's only so much that you can get wrong. So it's really not that scary whatsoever. But obviously, if you're consulting with a professional like myself, sending a deal to me or another mobile home expert, John, you know, you've done a ton of mobile home deals, so you know all the little intricacies that you want to find. So you guys need to be leaning on someone, whether that's a mentor, a buyer, someone to help kind of navigate you through these kind of intricacies that come with the mobile homes. So here's like a kind of quick example. So I'll start with the bottom here. So if you guys get a single family home in Phoenix, let's say your average acquisition price is around $350,000, you're going to need a $70,000 down payment, depending on your lender that you use, and you're going to need a $40,000 rehab, which is generous out here. So you're going to need $110,000 to possibly enter a deal. Given that maybe you have private money relationships or whatever, but let's say you don't. So for an example, you may need 6 figures to enter just to do a deal. As opposed to a mobile home, I can get it at a $150,000 acquisition price. I could put a $30K down payment with a $30K rehab because all the renovations are lower. And now you'll have about $60,000 cost of capital. So you'll have lower taxes, lower renovations, lower insurance costs. Everything you do in this deal is all going to be cheaper. It's the same thing when you go and buy a Mercedes. You're going to have the most expensive insurance. You're going to have the most expensive taxes. Everything is going to be more as opposed to getting just a more basic vehicle of some sort. So this is what my operation looks like today. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, essentially 4 different operating entities is what I operate out of. So I have a partner on 1, 2, and 3 of these companies here. Each entity will get its own, has its own bookkeeping, its own QuickBooks, its own tax returns. It's all completely separate. So this is more as you guys evolve. This isn't something you have to worry about too much if you're just starting out. But this is the entity we wholesale out of. This is the entity that gets flipped, properties flipped in. This is the entity for rentals, and then this is an entity that I do hard money lending out of. So each entity serves its own purpose so it can be properly measured when money's coming in and out, and it's not just for better lack of words, a shit show of money all over the place. Because as you guys grow and as you evolve, you will get into that problem where you don't know. All I knew for a long time till about 2 or 3 years ago is that there was more money in my bank account this month than there was the previous month. And that was how I tracked how much money I made. So get yourself a good bookkeeper pronto. So this is kind of what wholesaling looks like for our direct-to-seller. And how I want to tie this, it's all going to get tied back into mobile homes, but how I want to get this tied in is that wholesaling is where you get the best deals. If you guys are going direct-to-seller, that's how you're going to capture the most equity. That's how you're going to get the best deals, is off-market and direct-to-seller. So learn how to become the source of the deal. So as you can see here, your higher costs of marketing are going to be your PPC, your TV, mailers. It's going to be a higher cost per lead, but you're going to have less leads come in and less leads per contract. As opposed to what I love, cold calling, driving for dollars, texting, and door knocking is going to be a lower cost per lead and more leads. And cold calling is probably like Tony. It's about 80% of our 70 to 80% of our deals come from cold calling. So it's the absolute best campaign. I love cold calling because you can pull a specific lead and a specific criteria of data. So when I did TV advertising a couple months ago, I was spending about $60,000 a month for a couple months, and I got every single lead under the sun. I was getting listed properties. I was getting homes in Scottsdale that are worth $700,000-800,000. So I wasn't narrowly targeting the audience that I wanted to. And that's why I love cold calling, because you are narrowly targeting that audience that you want to be. So mobile homes are obviously always better deals because of the main points that I went over before, and we're capturing a lower purchase price, a more distressed seller, and hopefully an absentee owner. But this is kind of your main departments here for your wholesaling. So you have your marketing, sales, dispositions, and your admin/TC. By a show of hands, how many of you have a CRM system? Which I hope everyone's hand goes up. My first year was probably using Google Sheets for all my stuff. So get something that tracks your leads, because this is going to be your most important thing, whether that's Podio, Salesforce, whatever it is. But keep track of your guys' leads somehow. So here's a quick case study for you guys. So this is a mobile home that was bought in Peoria. I believe I locked this one up. So seller was selling, there was some fire damage, and the greatest thing ever is when someone tells you it's fire damage and completely lost, you should go out and verify that, whether that's pictures or going out there, because the mobile home was still in good standing. So we were able to acquire it for $115,000 on the sales price and make a $40,000 assignment fee on that mobile home, which was a double wide, affixed to the land in Peoria, and completely off market from a cold calling campaign. And I know this flipper pretty well, so I lent him the full amount as well. So I'm the lender on here too, as you can see. So wire fee to me. So we give him the wholesale fee, and then I'll lend him the money on the back end, so make the money in between, and then I'm also getting paid over the next duration of a couple months on the hard money loan. So that's the wire coming in. I always like to, prove my records here, because there's a lot of BS and a lot of fake gurus out there. So don't believe everything you see. Here's another one. This is a property in Tonopah, double wide, affixed to the land from a cold calling campaign. This person was, where was this lead? This was a rental where the tenants trashed it. So we got the property for $150,000, sold it to a buyer for $30,000, or made a $30,000 assignment fee. So the best thing about these mobile homes too, the purchase prices are so low. But when you guys are going direct to seller, you're going to want to make sure all of your data. I don't even upload leads that have bought 2021 and newer. So all the leads that get uploaded into our system are 2021 and previous, because I don't want to, make $2,000 on a creative finance thing. I want to make sure the majority of my income is coming from, the bigger wholesale fees. So that sales date is imperative because that's when all the equity was made from 2010, 2015, 2016 to today is how they have all that equity. And that's how we're going to be able to purchase it at a discounted price. If someone just bought their mobile home in 2022, it hasn't appreciated enough for them to take a lower offer. And there's the bank wire for Tonopah. So this was a deal, this was actually a trailer park that I want to break down for you guys. So we made $250,000 off this deal this year here. We did a double close of escrow. We acquired this as a 36-unit trailer park in Sedona, which we acquired for about $2.732 million and sold it for $2.985 and that's minus a $10,000 deposit, but just about $250,000 on one deal that we got in Sedona. So normally I don't target these trailer parks, but I always like to go over it because this is a lead that we're targeting from a Northern Arizona campaign. And if you guys are not already doing this, for every single lead that you talk to, whether you're talking to them or your caller is, ask the seller if they have any other property that they're looking to sell. So this deal right here came from a cold caller who said, hey, this guy said, I'm not selling my home. Our caller asked if you have any other property to sell. And this guy said, I work for a trailer park and the owners are interested in selling. So that's how we came across this deal. So if I could leave you guys with anything, add that to your scripts every single time, whether you're doing the calling or whether you're hiring for the callers. But make sure that's in your script. It will make you tons of more money. Thank you. So this kind of brings me on to the next thing. So flipping, like I said, we have our own separate entity, and all the money that you're going to make is when you purchase the property. So when you're going direct to seller, when you're getting it from a wholesaler, make sure that you are purchasing at 60 to 70% of the ARV. And if you guys haven't borrowed money yet, borrow it as if it's your own money, because that's how you're going to build a reputation over time of being credible and people wanting to give you money. So I hate when people say, oh, well, it's less risky for me because it's not my own money. You should treat that just like it's your own money. And whether you fuck up or not, you should pay that person back every single dollar, because your reputation and your credibility is everything in an industry like this, because that's what's going to get you repeat business. People are going to want you to win if they know that you have their back, and vice versa. So this is sorry. So I'm going to go over the process here for flipping a mobile. So this is what a financing deal on a mobile home looks like. So we had a $210,000 purchase price, $168,000 first loan at 12%. And this lender here is local in Arizona. They are called, which you guys can write down, Clear Funding. The name is for Brian and Dave Kaufman. And they fund mobile homes out here about 90% purchase price. So you guys can reach out to them and they lend on just about anything. They're freaking awesome. And then we raised a $75,000 second position loan at 12%. This is from a personal relationship, not a girlfriend. And $33,000 is what we get back at closing. And that $33,000 is used towards the renovation. A lot of other people, what I love about private money is that it's a more informal process. Your hard money lender is obviously going to do probably a lender holdback, which is fine, but you're going to have to send them weekly photos or weekly video updates of the property. And then instead of getting that $75,000 in full, you'll get probably 4 $15,000 draw payments, which is fine. But like I said, I mean, having private money, and if you have the trust and credibility, it's easier to get it in full. Because I'm not waiting on a draw from a lender to me to then pay to the contractor. I'm getting everything in my control and my bank account. So this is what a scope of work looks like. So first things first, as soon as we buy one, you're going to secure the property, getting new locks, making sure no windows are open, board them up, because some of these neighborhoods are going to be rough, and you will have a break-in at some point. Turn on the utilities. I've actually never turned on the utilities ever by myself. I have no idea how to do that, nor do I ever plan on knowing how to do it. So I actually have no idea how to do that, but we have an assistant do it, so you guys should absolutely be delegating that for SRP and APS and all that other BS. We create a scope of work, so as soon as we purchase it, do a walkthrough with the contractor. Sometimes, we don't even go over there because the contractor we're working with knows how we operate and systematically do these mobile homes. And I have about 16 mobile homes right now that are being flipped as we speak. So we've built this to a good systematic process. We come up with a timeline, probably anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Blue tape is kind of the final stages. Once we get to there, we'll go there, check if there's any last punch list items that need to be done, and then we clean the place with some cleaners, and then we try to list on Friday going into the weekend. And if you guys want to take a picture of that, that was for a property off Kings Avenue in Phoenix. And then selling costs. So your selling costs is, we usually use about 5 to 7%. We work with an agent where they charge us 1.5% on the sell side. So they obviously give us a little bit of a deal, but they're getting multiple of these mobile homes a month. So it's a good opportunity for them as well. So we have 1.5% to our sellers, 3% to our buyers. So we obviously get more people coming into the mobile homes. I try not to cheap out on that. I know the NAR stuff kind of went through, but you're kind of expecting someone to do the same job and make less money. So I'd rather pay someone a little bit more money to get people in the door and get it sold quick. Because if I go and skimp out on my percentage to a buyer's agent, that may take me longer to sell, and now I'm going to pay more in hard money payments. So it's going to balance out either way. You're going to have miscellaneous BS, which is your bins or repairs, concessions, break-ins, and unexpected extra costs. So always account for more, because everything is going to take more time and money when you guys are starting to flip. So this was the accounting nightmare that I was telling you guys about. But this is essentially how the accounting looks like today. So we have a spreadsheet where the costs of the property are logged onto here. So I don't ever go into QuickBooks or anything like that. All the costs are logged onto here. And the bookkeepers are able to see on our spreadsheet where these charges go. So if they see a $4,000 charge to Pink's Move-In, they'll know that that is paired to this property here. And in every single QuickBooks, there is a per property on each file. So the bookkeepers can go in there and know that, hey, Dan paid $4,000 to Pink's Move-In for garbage removal, and it was done for East Kings Avenue property. So then at the end, we know exactly how much is being spent on the renovations and the profit and everything. Because when you guys flip, you'll start to see money go in and out super quickly, and you'll get really fucked up very quickly. Excuse my language. And this is how the deals stay organized. So we use Podio. Podio has a bunch of apps that you can install. So I have the direct-to-seller stuff, a separate app for that, and then a separate app for renovating these properties. So we'll have the address, And this is what I want to see. When I come in here, this gives me a bird's eye view on what's going on with every single property. So I don't have to click into each file to know what's going on with each one. I can see what the exit is and what the status is and when it's going to be completed. And now once you actually click into here, it's going to have all the information on the file. So this is what it looks like. If you guys want to take a picture of that. But I think I built this out in about 10 minutes. So Podio's super easy to edit and something that you guys can all do. But this helps stay organized of everything that's going on with the deal. So we'll know what entity it's bought under, who the utilities are, because if I go away or I go on vacation and something needs to get done with this, everybody on the team will know exactly who to call for utilities, who to call for lender payoffs, who to call for insurance, who the listing agent is, who the title company is on the resale. So every single thing pertaining to this deal is logged, very detailed inside our CRM system. Any questions so far on flipping mobile homes? Yes.
Question about,
Sorry.
with mobile homes, is there a certain year that you're purchasing? Won't go below in the build year?
So 1976 is what you're going to want to stay. 1976 or newer are the financeable mobile homes. However, you can still wholesale a mobile home that's built prior to 1976. I just wouldn't advise buying it. I've bought mobile homes that are prior to 1976 because there's a price for everything. But I wouldn't advise taking it down, but there's no reason why you can't wholesale it.
Do you also have, as far as like the rehab part of it, if you have like a bulk of mobile homes, do you have like a cookie cutter set way of rehabbing? Like they all get the same appliances, they all get the same counters, everything like that?
Yep, yeah. It's all systematically done. Every mobile home, this is for a double wide, a double wide that needs a full renovation is going to be $40,000 to $50,000, like clockwork. Most of the mobile homes I never even walked before I purchased them, so they're always super fucked up. So they're either going to need $40,000 or they're going to need $50,000. So there's really no difference whether I walk it or, I'm making my money when I initially purchase it. And my purchase price, whether I run into a break-in or a miscellaneous cost, my purchase price is going to be able to give me enough of a buffer to take on those possible extra costs that occur, the unforeseen costs. Yes?
You talked about it being difficult to value mobile homes. Can you talk a little bit about how to value?
Yeah, so the main things that you're going to want to do is obviously the year build. So 1976 or newer is where you're going to want to stay and purchase. And then you're going to look for what's called your affidavit of a fixture. So, affidavit of a fixture. The affidavit of a fixture is what turns the mobile home from personal property into real property. And that affixes it to the land, like the gentleman here was saying. It was a fix. The deal he did was a fix. That means that the mobile home had a title at one point, but they affixed that title to the land and turned it into one. So you have your affidavit of a fixture, your year build, and what's the other one? A lot of these ones have septics too. So you're going to want to get a septic inspection. And a septic tank is essentially where all of your waste goes from your toilets and everything. And there's an underground tank, usually somewhere in the backyard or right in the front yard, that all of it goes down to. And that tank can corrode over time, it can get busted, roots can go through it. So you're going to want to make sure you get those. And then besides that, it's a regular deal. So what's the roof year, what's the AC year, any foundation issues, electrical, make sure that's all good, and plumbing. Besides those 5 things, add those couple extra little bit of underwriting, segments, then you're good. It's a regular real estate deal.
Everything should be on a permanent foundation as far as the mobile home?
It's not usually on a permanent foundation now. The mobile homes are driven on a semi truck and then placed. And usually there's a crawl space under the mobile home as well, and they're sitting on these big ass steel jacks. And I would also advise in getting someone to obviously look under the mobile home, because a lot of the times it could be unleveled as well. And you'll need someone to go under and level the mobile home, which could get costly. Trana Brothers, right?
Yeah. Is it easy to get the affidavit of a fixture if you like took a mobile home from this lot and then put it on this other one?
So when you move a mobile home, it actually becomes not financeable anymore.
And there's not a way to get the affidavit?
Not to my knowledge, depending on who you use to move it, because when the manufacturer moves it to the land, they are certifying that, hey, I did this right. This is all done correctly. If you and your brother and Matt Justice decide to go and try to move a mobile home, like there's no, how do we know that you guys didn't fuck it up somehow? Oh, well, we moved it and affixed it to the land. Well, how do we know that in the process of you moving it, you didn't go and sell it and then grabbed another mobile home and put it here? So there's too much liability and there's too much risk to do that. Any other flipping questions? Mobile, Tony Mont?
How many, what's the ratio of like double wide and single wide that you have?
Mostly all double wides. So with 16 on the books right now, there's probably 3 single wides. So if you're good at math, what's that percentage? Pretty low, yeah. So, but they're still good deals. Single wides, 1976 or newer, 2-bed, 1-baths. I mean, I got one for $95,000 about a month ago, and that was bought sight unseen with an occupant in there, and then evicted the occupant, and now we're getting pended on market for $250,000 after a $40,000 rehab. So, but those deals are obviously out there. But double wide is the best. Yeah. Yes. You. What's your name?
Richard.
Richard.
That's okay.
Okay.
Hey, so when you do them up north, do you send crews from Phoenix up, or do you have people out there? Because you do some in like northern Arizona, right?
Yeah, but those aren't really. They're definitely not a case study.
Got you. My
So
bad.
they're not going on. But no, I bought one in Payson, and those are ones like I just want to buy them and relist. So the contractors up north are just a pain in the ass, and they're slower. We have some people that we're bringing up, but the process of doing it is all slower, and it's just a lot more streamlined down here. Like we have the process here, we have the people here, and then now we're trying to go and do it elsewhere. It's harder it doesn't work the same,
Gotcha.
So if that answers your question.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're finding the same thing out. I didn't know if there was a hack there, but.
But yeah, I mean, like a novation or flat fee, MLS it or something like that, in some of these more rural towns, I think you could still make a massive spread on it.
Nice.
So
yeah, we've had a couple good ones.
yeah, I mean they're the best. they have such good spreads. I know someone had a question. Yes.
How are you comping them? Like, what are you comping them off of then? Is the community, well, obviously, the community that you're in has enough around it, but like.
Well, remember, there's no communities.
What's that?
There's no communities. These are no HOA.
City or you've targeted a pocket of an area where there's enough mobile homes around there that you can comp.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just like any other comparable sales approach. So I'm in between, Broadway, Ellsworth, whatever these other 2 streets are, and all these mobiles are on no HOA, owned land, and I'm once again comparing apples for apples. So like
They're not in parks then.
they are not in parks,
They
no.
own the land themselves.
Own the land.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm then comparing that to owned land, no HOA, 3-bed, 2-bath, double wide that are affixed around the same year build. So if I'm seeing 280 active on market, 300 active on market, 275, then I know when I go to sell, I'm probably going to want to price mine at like 260 because I want to undercut all the other mobile homes when I go to sell mine. So mine sells the fastest. So you had a question up here?
Yeah, I was wondering if you're purchasing in a mobile home community.
No.
You're doing it.
Because then you're flipping a car, and you don't want to flip a car. And I've done a couple of those, and they're just a massive pain in the ass. And people will be very motivated to sell them because they're shitty ass deals. It's like your land seller that just won't get off the phone with you. So quick case study on this one though. So this is a deal that was purchased from a wholesaler off Kings Avenue. Front end closing costs, kind of like what John says, just put in $5,000 no matter what. That's a good basis to go off of. $62,000 renovation. This was a bigger double wide. So normally, like I said, you're landing around that $50,000 renovation. So account for that. Interest to lenders, about $8,000 that you're paying out. Utilities, $575 for a couple months. And a $286,000 all-in acquisition price. So I'm tallying up all of my costs there on the front end, which gives me an all-in price. Sold the mobile home for $362,000 for a net profit of $47,000 on that double wide, which is about a 3 to 4 month turnaround time. So that's kind of what, if you guys want to take a picture, these are the costs of what it looks like to actually buy, take it down, do the renovation, and then resell it. So I'm going to get into rentals. I really love what you're doing with those lease options and stuff, which I'm absolutely going to look into. But mobile homes, in my opinion, this could be, could be up for interpretation as well. But I don't believe that they're good long-term rentals. These things wear and tear very hard. They depreciate a lot more than your regular single-family house. Well, single families appreciate, these more go down in value. And your tenant quality is super low in some of these areas too. And that's why I'm curious about your stuff. Like, are you seeing that the tenant quality is higher when you're doing lease options?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're buying it, putting a big option fee up front.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that could be something to look into as well, which I'm absolutely going to do that. You're also not getting a lot of tax write-offs. When the purchase price is so low, there's only so much you're going to depreciate, so you're not getting too much. You're better off buying a trailer park where those things can really cash flow. And that's when you own the land, and possibly you may own the mobiles or seller finance those mobiles in the park as well. Kyle?
With those cost seg studies that you're doing on them, for the mobiles, do you see, like, compared to like a single family house, like it's relatively pretty low?
You don't get anything from it, pretty much.
Even if the purchase price is $300, so let's just compare a $300,000 house versus a mobile home, the cost seg study is going to be lower on it, or is it going to be relatively the same?
I've never done it. Well, I've never bought a mobile for $300K that high. And I'm not keeping these as rentals, so I'm not cost segging it either. Because the value is just, they're getting beat to shit. Now maybe if I do a lease option or something where the tenant has more skin in the game, this could be an option. But you can seller finance them as well. So that's kind of what I've been doing, is seller financing them. So not keeping them as rentals, but getting them off the books, seller financing them, and then pushing off the maintenance and all the other crap that I can to them. Because I'm not really capturing much of, like what John was saying with those points of depreciation, appreciation. I'm not really getting that anyway. So that's why I like them as a seller finance. This is a trailer park in Apache Junction that I bought a couple years ago at $165,000. Did about $100,000 of improvements. It makes about $7,000 a month in cash flow. And this is my all-in price here for $265,000. So I'm making about a 32% rate of return on my capital there with this mobile home park, and this is what it looks like. So all of these are owned the land is one here, and each mobile has a mobile home title. So not every mobile home is obviously its own land. So when you own the mobile on the land, you're able to get more for that as well. Does anyone have any questions on what this looks like? This is a trailer park. And I hope you guys can kind of see the difference between the two. Yes. Not normally, because we'd have to go to the city, get a permit to get a new mobile or to add another unit to there. And the city is a pain in the ass. Nor would it's not something that's kind of in the deck of cards right now, no. Did you raise your hand back there somewhere? No?
Do you prefer the way where,
Yeah.
where they own their mobile?
Uh,
Parts where you own the mobile too?
well, when you own the mobile, you're able to get more for rent. So now I can charge the land, which is a couple $100 and $1,000 for the mobile. Those are 2-bed, 1-baths in AJ in the not greatest area that we're getting $1,500 a month for. So if I only owned the land, I could probably charge $500. So now each one is obviously getting more cash flow, every month. But I have to deal with maintenance, all that BS, and everything that goes into that. So this is what it looks like to lend on a mobile home. So I lend out my own capital. So these are to other mobile homes too. And if you guys have mobile homes, I can lend on those too. But I'm earning about anywhere from a 12 to 15% return, give or take. Obviously as much as I can, preferably. These short-term flips are great opportunities for lending. If you guys have your own money to lend, I lend pretty much all my money out with these flips. And then the flow of, this is just my own personal finance, but I put most of my money in a high-yield savings account, which bears about a 4.5% interest rate. So anytime my money is not getting lent out at a 14 to 15% return, I move it into an American Express savings account, which bears me about a 4 to 5% interest rate. Yes?
When you transfer out of there, is there any kind of penalties or anything like that?
No. So I go, if someone hits me up for a deal and I need to close by in 2 days, I can get it out of here within 24 hours for no charge. I can get it into my Chase checking account, and then I can wire it that same day or get a cashier's check. And then now I moved my money, which is making me a 4.5% return, and is now getting lent out at a 15% return. And as soon as that money comes back into my Chase account, I send it right back into here. Or unless I have another deal coming up that I can get a 15% return on.
So no matter what, you're earning interest?
Always, yeah. Yep. So it's a great opportunity to do that. Because this year I'll probably make 6 figures plus on just lending out. So, and that's for not really doing too much work either. So the process of it, like I said, so November 15th, I draw out $150,000 from a high yield savings account, and I get a cashier's check on the 17th of $150,000, which I drop off to the title company. So as you can see, it comes out of my American Express. It withdraws from a cashier's check. I drop it off at the title company. And then this one took a long time, which was kind of annoying. Usually it's shorter, but about 6 months. Then I deposit the check when it comes back for $161,000, which is my $150,000 principal, and then I have $11,000 in interest as well. So that's the process in a nutshell of what it looks like to lend your own money and what that looks like. Yes?
Is that an interest only straight, or are you advertising that?
That's interest only. That's a 6-month interest only loan. So that was to another investor that does mobile home. I actually sold him this deal too. So I assigned him this deal and then I lent him the money on it. Any questions? Yes.
Do you ever lend to your rental company, or do you only lend to other people?
I only lend to other people, but I will assign, if I'm doing a flip and I get it from my direct-to-seller company, I'll assign it to my flipping company, and then my hard money lenders will lend to my flipping company, and I can set an acquisitions price. If I want to get like quick capital for my marketing fees and all the other stuff, and I get this flip at $60,000, I'll assign it to my flip company at $90,000. Then I'll go get a private loan for $90,000, and I can get the $30,000 paid out to us right away. Which obviously, given you need to disclose that to your lenders and stuff, because they need to know that, hey, I'm getting paid like right away. So make sure that's obviously disclosed. If that makes sense, does that answer your question? Okay. Any questions on the lending side of these for mobile homes? So the biggest thing, like I said earlier, which I love, is that I'm not changing my whole business model. I'm not, starting a multifamily company, a land company. It's like Rich's stuff. It's all something that's already in your pipeline that you can just add to your repertoire. This isn't changing and uprooting everything. It's literally, hey, I'm already cold calling. I already have a CRM. I already have salespeople. Now I just need to literally download another list of data and underwrite it the same way I would with a couple extra factors, the same way I would as a single family property. And it's the same seller, the same conversations. Everything is the same. So nothing is changing whatsoever. But you have an opportunity to make a shit ton of money on these. And every single one of you guys should be using it. Yes?
Are you only doing first position loans?
I only do first position, yeah. So, no, I don't want to do any second positions. Yes?
Where I live in Florida, I'm in South Florida, and there are a lot of trailer parks, and they unfortunately look like the first one that you showed.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I just don't know how I would get a buyer for these. I'm sure there's some nice ones, but for the most part, you don't see those. So,
Well, you don't see them because people got the deal super quick and they never get sent out. They're bought before they're ever even hit the market. But there is great deals out there. Where in Florida?
I'm in South Florida, Boynton Beach. It's right next to Delray Beach, right next to
Yep.
Boca Raton.
Yes, yeah. So to my knowledge, I don't think there's a lot of like owned as many owned mobiles on owned land out there. If you go to Polk County is like Lakeland, all those other things. That is the most amount of mobile homes in Florida is in Polk County on owned land. Polk County has in Florida the most amount. And nationwide statistics is Arizona, Texas, and Florida have the most amount of mobile homes in general. But there is a massive opportunity in Florida for sure. And like I said, I would target like Polk County and a couple of those other places.
Thank you.
Yes. So that's pretty much all I got. You guys can follow me on Instagram. That's my main platform. I started a YouTube channel. I don't really know what I'm doing with it. I get a lot of hate comments on it. So anything would help. So how am I on time? We're good? Okay. Any other questions, whether that's mobile homes, wholesaling, and I'll leave you guys with this. Like, wholesaling for me in general is really three factors: high equity homeowners, absentee owners is what I want to target, and I want to target medium price point and below. That is your wholesale ideal seller avatar. And when I go and do mobile homes, I'm already inherently hitting all of those factors because the mobile home is already priced at that price point or below. I'm hopefully getting an absentee owner, and all the leads I'm uploading have a sale date from 2020 or prior, so I'm capturing that equity that I want to as well. Yes? So I've pulled lists from pretty much everywhere. Batch leads, list source, monsoon. I found they all pretty much work. So I don't really have one specifically. I like list source a lot. That one I pulled a lot of data off of, but they all work. And when you're pulling that list, make sure you're putting a minimum lot square footage of 4,000. And whoever's in Florida, you can actually go on like batch leads if you use that. And if you go in your county and hit a minimum lot square footage of 4,000, because now that's going to take out all the non-owned land, because all the mobiles and trailer parks are on really small lots. So if I put that criteria of a minimum lot square footage of 4,000, now I'm going to wipe out all the non-owned mobiles. So then I can go county specific and really see how many of these mobiles that are the actual avatar I want, how many there actually are by county. Like Maricopa Pinal really doesn't even have that many. It only has like 20 to 25,000 mobile homes on actual owned land, exactly what I'm looking for. So really not that many. But any other questions? Yes?
Contractors. Where did you find your contractors at?
I got mine from a friend. Someone, I mean, always if you can get a referral from someone. But like anything, kind of trial and error. So I have like 2 really good ones so far. And they're pretty much completely hands off. Obviously, every contractor you use is probably going to be making 20% on what you do. So our renovation is 50 grand. He's probably making 10 grand a pop, which is totally fine, given that he's project managing, he's managing the subs. The only thing I'm doing is getting a video every week of updates and sending a draw. Besides that, it's pretty much a total hands-off process.
And then with your heating and cooling units, what do you do with that then?
How
do you source your heating and cooling units then? Do you have like a vendor that you use?
He does all of it.
Oh, okay.
I don't do any of it.
Gotcha.
So the only people we use directly are these landscapers, because they're awesome and they are very cheap. But I don't think they have citizenship. But they're great. So so that's pretty much all I got. I appreciate Ryan for having me up. So there's the remote. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, test. How are we doing with energy? We good? All right, we're freaking up on Friday afternoon.
Yep, thank you.
We got more food coming, don't worry. As we get ready for this next one, thank you.